Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I am the makeup enthusiast. If you are new around here, be sure to click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any more ramblings from this makeup obsessed enthusiast. In today's video, we are doing another tag. I know I've done a fair few tags recently. Today I'm doing the if I could only keep one tag. This tag was created by Kelly Gooch and I was tagged to do this video by Yori from the Personal Beauty Lab. She did a video maybe a week or two ago and she tagged me in it, and I've been like racking my brain trying to decide what products to include in this video. So basically the premise of this video is that if you could only have one item from your current beauty collection to use like forever, and that includes the particular color that you have and the particular formula that you have. So basically the color that you have in your collection, for example, the color of foundation that you have, you are picking that specific shade and foundation to use for the rest of your life, I guess you could say. So I thought this was a really fun and interesting tag. It's a good way to see how people treat their collection. So these products aren't necessarily people's favorites, but they are products that they have thought that they could get the most use out of for the longest period of time. And that's the kind of the way that I've tried to approach this tag. And the products that I have in front of me are not necessarily my favorite. Some of them are favorites and they were featured in my favorites video, but some of them are just general products in my collection that I know that I could get the most use out of, or I could pair the most with other products that I have picked out. So without further ado, let's jump on into the video and go through the categories. So the first product category is the primer category, and for this one I picked Hourglass Veil Primer. Now I picked this one out because of a few reasons. This is kind of a good general all-rounder makeup primer. I feel like this primer really helps my makeup last longer, and I feel like it does a really good job at smoothing out my skin. So for those two reasons, I feel that it is a good primer for the whole year because I can pretty much pair this primer with any foundation. The next category is the foundation category, and this one was a really tough one. For those of you that saw my 2017 makeup favorites, you know that I have 3 holy grail foundations, and it was hard to pick just one out of the 3 of them. But I whittled it down to the Covergirl Outlast Stay Fabulous 3-in-1, and I use the color Classic Ivory. Now, I don't really have the problem that a lot of people have when it comes to picking the color of foundation that they have in their collection. All my foundations are pretty much the same color, and that's purely because 1, I am very pale and I don't self-tan, and 2, I don't get much sun. So because I'm so pale, I burn so easily. So I am super duper cautious when it comes to going out in the sun. So my skin tone does not vary all that much between summer and winter, and for that reason I can get away with just picking any foundation. So I use the color Classic Ivory out of the Outlast Stay Fabulous. This is not a full coverage foundation. It's kind of a medium foundation, but it's buildable and it makes your skin look phenomenal. So whether you are using it for a sheer foundation day or you're wanting it to be full coverage, this can kind of cover me for everything. And if I pair that with my primer, it looks extra awesome. So this one is a good one and it can be sheared out or built up. The next one that I have is out of the concealer category, and that is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This is just a winner for me all around. I have not found a concealer that has beaten this one. I feel like it's really good. It can be built up, it can be sheared out, and it is cheap as chips, so it's a good one to go for. Next is one that I don't think Kelly mentioned in her video, but I'm going to include it, and it is powder. Now for powder, I grabbed the NYX Stay Matte but Not Flat powder, and I have the color Ivory. This kind of suits me at any point. As I said, my skin tone doesn't really change all that much throughout the year, so this is a good one for me to use for whenever. And it is also good, you can take it on the go. It has a little sponge in here if you want to touch up on the go. I'm not really about that life, but it's there if I need it. Yeah, I think the color is really good, and once again, it is pretty cheap, so I think I can justify using this forever. Next up is bronzer. Now for bronzer, I don't really have all that many in my collection. I think I have maybe 3 or 4. So for bronzer, I went with the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronzer in Tantric. And I just grabbed this one because it's a fairly natural bronzer. I use it with a really light hand and brush, and I just brush it all over my face, and I find that it looks really natural on my skin with my really pale skin. Some of the bronzers in my collection, I have the NARS Laguna bronzer, and I feel like that can look too dark and deep on my skin. I am very pale, so it doesn't take much for it to look over the top. Next up is blush, and for this one I went with the Inglot Freedom System blush in number 28. This is just your average basic dusty pink, and I just feel like this can go with anything, and for that reason I grabbed this one. I feel like it could go with a bright eye, it could go with a natural eye, it could go with a smoky eye. I feel like this would just cover me for all the looks that I wanted to do. Highlighter. I didn't struggle with highlighters as much as I think. For this one I went with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sugar Glow Kit, and out of this you all know which one I'm going to go for. I want Starburst. Starburst for me is just the perfect highlighter, and I feel like it just works with me with any look that I have. It's just perfect, and I think I would just be happy to have this and only this for eternity and beyond. So the next one is my one and only face brush and eye brush. Now for my face brush, I went with my Real Techniques blush brush. Now I feel like this I can use for bronzer, I can use for contour because it does have a slight taper to it. I can kind of get in there really lightly and use for contour. I can use it for blush, and I can once again dip in really lightly and use it for highlight, all over for powder. I'm not sure how this would go with foundation because it's so soft and fluffy, but I can always just use my hands for foundation. So I feel like this is a good multi-purpose one for my face. And then for my eyes, I went with the Colourpop blending brush. Now I went with this one because it is quite a tapered blending brush. I can pack on color with one side, and I can use the point to blend in the crease, and I can use the edge of the corner to do some outer corner details. So I feel like this one would be really good as my one and only eye brush. Now my second last category was one of the hardest categories, and that is my if I could only keep one lip product. Now this was tough. I was this close to grabbing out the lipstick that I wore for my wedding, and then I just thought, no, if I was to get married again today or tomorrow, I would actually pick out this other lipstick. So that was the one that I grabbed out, and this is the Hourglass Confession lipstick in My One Desire. I just love this lipstick. This lipstick formula is amazing. The color I just feel goes with pretty much every eye look I have. I feel super duper luxe when I'm using this lipstick, and yeah, you just can't go wrong with these lipsticks. And I think if I was to do my wedding again, I would wear this lipstick on my wedding day. And the last category, which was one of the hardest categories, was my one and only eyeshadow palette. Now I had a few palettes that I was this close to grabbing out. I almost grabbed out my Lorac Mega Pro 1 palette, and then I had a look at it and I was like, it's missing those bright poppy colors that I don't wear all that often, but I do like to do every now and then. And then I almost grabbed out my Lorac Pro palettes, and I went, yeah, it's still missing something. Then I grabbed out my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, and that was definitely missing a lot. That I just don't think I would be happy just having my chocolate bar palette. Then I grabbed out my Desert Dusk palette, and it was still missing kind of pops of color. I looked at my Prism palette, and it was just too much. It didn't have the neutral colors that I could wear to work. And then I stumbled upon this palette. This is my Juvia's Place Masquerade mini palette, and I opened it up and I went, yeah, that's it. I've got my top row here of my pop colours that I can play with, my blues and greens and purples and bright pinks that I can play with to do my loud colours. And then I've got these basic colours down the bottom here that I can use as crease colours and I can use as colours to wear to work. I just feel like all my other palettes in my collection don't have this array of colours where I can have just only this forever and still be satisfied. All the other palettes that I kind of grabbed, I love them. I love them. I grabbed out my Desert Dust palette, like I said, that is one of my absolute favourite palettes, but it just still didn't have like these bright blues and greens that I like to play with every now and then, and that really inspire me to push my makeup skills outside the box. So I grabbed out this one because it's got everything that a girl needs for forever. That was really hard. I feel a little bit heartbroken, and I feel like maybe my makeup palettes will want to break up with me after telling them that they're not good enough. So that's it for this video, everyone. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know in the comments box if you have done this tag. I will leave a list of people down in the comments in the description box that I tag in this video. There's a few of my beautiful friends on YouTube that haven't done this tag yet, so check down there to see if your name is featured. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you like this video. I upload videos Monday and Friday. Thanks for stopping by and clicking on this video, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.